In the heart of Gaza, Israel finds itself grappling with a multifaceted crisis. Tasked with the choice between neutralizing the threat imposed by Hamas and safeguarding over 2 million innocent inhabitants of Gaza, the pressure is building. In response to heightened airstrikes on October 27th, the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, have initiated a series of ground offenses, employing tanks in a comprehensive campaign aimed at Gaza. As one of the most densely populated regions globally, Gaza houses approximately 2.3 million people within a mere 365 square kilometer area. The unfortunate outcome of these intense airstrikes and ground offensives has been the loss of over 8,000 lives and in excess of 20,000 injuries within Gaza. Over 1 million people from northern Gaza have been driven to abandon their homes, leaving countless neighborhoods in ruins. Over 200 schools, including 29 United Nations facilities, have been obliterated as civilian casualties continue to climb. As a result, Israel is now in the unenviable position of facing escalating international criticism, with the potential loss of support from its Western allies for their military endeavors. Former foreign policy advisor to ex-Prime Minister Zen, Simmer Meir, points out the delicate tightrope that Israel must walk, neutralizing the threat that Hamas poses, while also protecting over 2 million innocent Palestinians and retaining Western alliances. The IDF has reportedly used approximately 10,000 missiles, bombs, and artillery shells in its attacks on Gaza, doubling the count from the US-led coalition's mission to reclaim Mosul from the Islamic State in March 2017. The IDF acknowledges that its military operations inevitably impact the 2.3 million inhabitants of Gaza. As the old saying goes, every victory comes at a cost, and to neutralize a foe, an intrusion of their territory accomplished by force is often the only solution. IDF spokesperson Hari Halavi on October 28th stated that they diligently try to adhere to international law and minimize civilian casualties by targeting specific objectives. Yet, they also accuse Hamas of violating international law by using civilians as human shields and storing weapons in an intricate network of tunnels, some of which burrow under civilian sites, such as hospitals and schools. Zen's former government advisor, Simmer Meir, stated that Israel finds itself in a conundrum, balancing the need to eliminate the threat from Hamas while simultaneously protecting the lives of over 220 contingent Israeli citizens and roughly 2 million innocent Palestinian civilians. Israel's military operations aim to debilitate Hamas militarily, with a particular focus on hampering its ability to launch rockets, which poses the most significant threat to Zen's security. Military experts suggest that Israel's current comprehensive offensive has several goals, primarily inducing chaos among Hamas leaders. A former Australian military general and current military analyst, Ron, stated that we are witnessing Israel rapidly executing various simultaneous attacks, inducing chaos among Hamas leaders by making them uncertain of what is transpiring and ensuring they cannot react swiftly. IDF also reported the elimination of a number of Hamas military leaders, including the deputy head of the intelligence agency, Sadi Barus, who was allegedly plotting an attack on Zen's territory. However, it's widely believed that most senior leaders and members are hiding within the tunnel network, beneath the densely populated areas of Gaza. In a recent escalation in Gaza, the Zen Defense Ministry targeted residential areas approximately 10 kilometers from the Egyptian border. Contrastingly, a separate strike destroyed a Hamas rocket storage facility located beneath a building. These strikes highlight that Hamas has embedded its military infrastructure deep within the densely populated areas of Gaza. Robert Barber, a renowned political science professor from the University of Chicago, astutely pointed out the complex dynamics of Zen's campaign to eliminate Hamas. His words echo the sentiment that this mission is far from easy. In a world where there are no easy choices, he suggested the only alternative for Zen may be to transform the city into a barren wasteland, a prospect that would spell a humanitarian catastrophe. The United States, despite supporting Zen's right to self-defense, has urged Israel to show restraint in its offensive. A chorus of Arab nations has joined in condemning actions that threaten both military targets and innocent civilians, such as the attacks by Hamas and the retaliation by Israel. In this offensive, it's important to note the shift in IDF's strategy. The practice roof knocking, where they issue a non-explosive warning before a significant air raid, has been largely abandoned. Despite the influx of displaced people, the targeting of southern Gaza continues. Allegedly, the homes of Hamas members are seen as legitimate targets, even if civilians inhabit them. Reports from local residents suggest that the airstrikes have hit apartment buildings. This widespread IDF offensive is ultimately aimed at collecting intelligence to fine-tune their tactics for an upcoming battle. Ward Stinger, a former air marshal with the British Air Force, has commended this calculated approach, stating that each air campaign is informed by intelligence related to tunnel locations and depth. The only way for Zen to ensure the safety of the 2 million innocent civilians, according to Scher, is to evacuate them to the southern regions. History has shown us that large-scale bombing campaigns seldom achieve their intended objectives and can often lead to counterproductive results. It's a cycle of defiant declarations without a clear path forward, akin to living under the constant threat of a loaded gun. Moving our sights to Ukraine, Defense Minister Shoigu has raised concerns that Russia's air defense could obliterate the incoming batch of F-16 fighter jets, promised by Western countries, within just 20 days. Shoigu highlighted that Ukrainian anti-aircraft units have already downed 37 aircraft, including 6 drones. Western countries, inclusive of Denmark, have pledged 19 F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, though the transfer timeline remains unspecified. President Zelensky is hopeful that these jets will bolster Ukraine's air defense and aid their counteroffensive against Russian forces. However, some experts from the U.S. question the utility of the F-16S, given Russia's advanced air defense systems. Ukraine's counteroffensive against Russian forces in the north has gained some ground, but not as planned. The Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2 UAV, once hailed as a game-changer, has lost its edge against Russia's extensive air defense and electronic warfare systems. Yet with new camera systems from a Canadian company, the Bayraktar TB2 now provides valuable intelligence to Ukrainian forces. The unfolding situation in Ukraine is fluid, and new developments are expected in the coming days.